I was president of the International Equestrian Federation, governing body, and we had a Polish delegate was a member of the executive committee, and he said, we ought to have international rules for carriage driving. I said, carriage driving? What are you talking about? And, oh yes, he said, it's very popular. And of course, the international federations were formed so that everybody could compete under the same rules at the Olympic Games. Because before that, every country had its own rules. If you came here show jumping, you jumped under British rules. If you went to France, you went under French rules and Germany. So when they introduced the Olympic Games, they said, well, you've got to have the same rules for everybody. But carriage driving didn't exist then, so there were no international rules. And it turned out that there were carriage driving competitions in Hamburg and in Aachen and various places, but all under their own rules. And so I didn't know anything about this. I went to Aachen to see what was going on, and I was absolutely staggered. They had something like 24 four-in hands going around the ring. So I thought, well, something must be going on. And I got a chap called Michael Ansell, who was the sort of guru of the equestrian sports in this country, to chair a committee to discuss what the rules should be based on, and they came up with the idea it should be based on the ridden 3-day event, and then dispersed. And so I had this thing on my desk, and so it was then a question of trying to adapt the 3-day event rules for carriage driving. And I didn't drive a carriage, and not many other people did either. But I got a party together, and we sort of worked on it. Then I got our Crown Equerry, the chap who runs the stables here. He entered in a preliminary trial event somewhere in Switzerland, I think it was, and it worked more or less. And then the Hungarians got frightfully excited and said, we want to run a European Championship. I said, hold on, the ink isn't dry yet. We don't even know what, Anyway, we decided to let them go, and I went out to have a look at it. And it was really quite interesting to see how it, sort of developed. And then I persuaded this show to put on the first sort of international here at Windsor. This has been going on ever since. I started driving because I'd been playing polo, and I decided that I would give up polo when I was 50. I happened to be 50. And I was looking around to see what next, I don't know what there was available. And I suddenly thought, well, we've got horses and carriages and grooms. I said, well, why don't I have a go? So I borrowed 4 horses from the stables in London, took them to Norfolk and practiced, and thought, well, why not? And the second competition I ever took part in was the European Championships here. I came in not quite last, but very nearly. But everything, we hadn't, all the carriages were antiques, and we had a thing called the Balmoral dog cart. It's still in the, it had to be rebuilt every year because it got smashed up regularly. I drove it in Poland, I think, in an international. I didn't smash it up that time, but it usually got smashed.